Hi guys, and welcome back to the Maintenance channel. Thanks so much for tuning in today. So today I have a different video. This will be a video about books. This is my other time that I'm talking about books. Anyways, so I have 5 books I usually read. All of these books are in the sci-fi-ish, what do you call this? Adventure type of books. You know, they all have their own little thing. I like different types of books, so these are just in that genre, you know, the sci-fi adventure, you know, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings type of books. But yeah, let's get started. All of them are pretty good, and if you do have suggestions or anything like that, I'll be adding those up in comments and everything. And all of these books you can find on Amazon, and at this point they should be fairly cheap because we've been out for a while. Okay, so in not in any order whatsoever, I'm just gonna start with this one right here, and this is Darkside. So this is a book that is very interesting. I read this back in high school, and I kept this and I purchased the rest of them and everything. All of them are also sequels as well. So if you like series that are pretty long or pretty good, all of them have prequels as well and sequels. So this one's Darkside here. This one is about a boy who accidentally walks into a door that takes him to Darkside, which is the dark side of London. So in this world, it's kind of like a fantasy world where werewolves and vampires exist and everything, but they're all sent there. So they all live in the dark side of London. And this is very interesting because it's kind of like almost like a Harry Potter, but in a dark side type of thing, I guess. It is funny at times, and it is very interesting the way that they build the world around there and everything. Overall, I think this is a pretty good book. It is fairly short too, as you can tell, so you can easily read this in a sitting or two, and the series continues on and everything. It's a fairly cheap book, like I said, so if you want to get a good read and a good laugh at the same time, you should check this one out. Alright, so next I have The Alchemist. So this series is also a long series. I think it has maybe 4 or 5 books, maybe a little bit more than that at this point. And The Alchemist is basically a series that follows around Nicholas Flamel. Nicholas Flamel, who's the alchemist. In Harry Potter, he made a Philosopher's Stone and lived forever. In this one, a similar story, but it doesn't involve him just himself, but the 2 main characters who are a brother and sister. So this takes alchemy, in a sense, is almost like a magical thing, almost like Fullmetal Alchemist, if you ever seen the anime. In a sense, not completely like that, but in a sense. And it's very interesting. It's basically a cat and mouse, a game where they're like hiding around and trying to find clues and everything. So it's a little bit of mystery with fantasy. So I really like this one as well. It's a mystery, and overall the story is really neat. I really like the characters, and seeing the interaction between the brother and sister and how they grow apart and grow together at the same time. It's really good too. Also, it's not a very long book either, and the series, like I said, is really good. So if you want to check it out as well, you should check it out. So next I have Darren Shan, which is Cirque du Freak. So this series is one of my favorite series, and it got a really terrible movie, which is another video for a different day. But yeah, so the adventures of Darren Shan, basically the main character Darren, he has a best friend, and they go to a Cirque of Freaks to get there, Cirque du Freak. And then his best friend finds out that one of the performers there is actually a vampire. So his best friend wants to become a vampire, and Darren is kind of like, oh look, the vampire has a really neat spider. So Darren steals the spider from the vampire, and it just goes down from there. So the story is really interesting. It's a lot about Darren himself, but also about his friend, and overall I like how this one plays out, because this one plays out for 12 books. So it's a long series, but it's really good, and all of them are short. They're not really long books. You know, you can tell how thick it is from here. Overall, I really like this one because of all the characters, like I said, the story is really neat, and it takes you down some dark paths that you don't think you'll start. Darren starts as a teenager, I think he's like 12, 13, something like that, and you see him grow up to adulthood on this game, on this book. So overall, I think that this is a pretty good series because you see all the characters grow, you see all the adventures of him and his friend and everything. So yeah, I think this one is a really good one as well. I don't want to disclose too much on any of these books because all of them have really good stories, and their sequels are really good as well. So then I have this one right here. It's an older book too. It's a little bit bigger than the other ones. It's the Warrior Heir. So this is part of another series. All of them focus on different characters. This book focuses on one character, and then the next book focuses on a different character, and so on. So they all have like different focus, but all the different characters are the books that are based on the same world, and you see the different characters come up later on. So I like this, the way that they played it out here as well. It's pretty neat, and I really like that too. Really would. So in this particular one here. It's the story about a guy who just lives a regular life and everything, and he has to drink this medicine every day because if he doesn't drink the medicine, he's going to get really, really sick. So one time he decides not to drink the medicine for whatever reason, I don't remember exactly why, and it turns out that he has a condition, but beyond that, it turns out that he has magical powers of the sword. And it just takes the adventure from there on. It's really interesting, and it's really neat how they play out the different characters there as well. As you can tell, I look for a lot in character development because that's what I like the most of. Seeing how they grow from the way that they were before at the beginning to how they are at the end. It's my view. That's what I like in a game. I like the games or the games, stories, books, all of this stuff. I want it to look, and I want it to go like that from beginning to end, and I want to see how it turns out everything. Alright, and the next one I have here is The Legends of Shannara. This is a bigger book, and the language they use here is a little bit weird at times, but it's pretty cool. This one got picked up by MTV, and it turned into a TV series, so if you are interested, you can also check out the series. But this is a book video, so let's talk about the book here. So this is a pretty interesting story because they set up a fantasy world, which is the same sci-fi because it plays out in the future. It's in the future, but it has the fantasy aspects such as elves, such as all this magic and everything, but it's played out in the future. So our current world already got destroyed, and this is brand new, so everything looks like the Lord of the Rings, but it's in the future. But it's not like sci-fi-ish on the sense that it's spaceships or anything like that, but it's in the aspect of everything, the way that they build the world around, basically. So it's really cool. I like the main character, and I like the characters around them. He has his job to do, and all the characters around him are kind of like, yeah, you're not supposed to do this, or you can do this and everything. So pretty interesting story. If you're interested and you kind of just don't want to drop a lot of money into it, like I said, you can watch the show, but the book is pretty good, really good too. And I actually found about this from the TV show too. So I watched the first episode, and I was kind of like, I heard this is based on a book, let's check out the book. So the book's good too. Anyway, so those are 5 books that I recommend you reading. All of them have their pretty interesting things. If you want to know about them more, I'll leave a description there so you can take a look at them. But I think like overall, those are really good books, and you should take a look at them a little bit more. Well, this is another short video here. I just want to talk about some books that I like because I've been reading another book series called The Sinner. I won't go into details about it or anything here, but it's pretty neat. The writer himself invited me to read this book, and I was like, hey, I want to take a look at it. It's pretty good so far, and I'll be reviewing it shortly. But yeah, these are just 5 books that I like, and thanks so much for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.